Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined today with our dear friend, Dennis Romero. Excited to have him as always because it's been a lot of fun and he's been teaching me and of course all of you all about the work he does. And by the way, when I first met him, I wasn't even sure what scalp micropigmentation was. And boy, oh boy, am I flabbergasted by the results, the looks, and how it's changing the lives of so many men and women out there. So, Dennis, thank you for being here again. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself to everyone to start.
Thank you. I am Dennis, and I'm with Vanguard SMP, and we are a scalp micropigmentation clinic that specializes in hair micropigmentation for hair loss.
Ah, wow. And I mean, this is something that you are so well versed in. You have many locations and lots of training, and you've been doing it for quite some time, although he looks like he's 20.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, we have been doing it for a while. And, we have a lot of experience. We've been in the business for a while. We're always trying to push the envelope in terms of executing the most effective treatments that clients end up happy about, right? Because it's really about the client. And we really, really go above and beyond to provide top-notch customer service for them.
Great. And what did you have in mind for today? Who's our lovely guest?
Our lovely guest is my best friend and business partner, Benea Poindexter.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Good. How are you?
It's great. A great morning. We're happy to be up early this morning to see you guys and go over some great information I think people will be happy to learn about.
No, can I just ask quickly how the two of you all met and became partners? Tell me a little bit of your history.
So we met actually 9 years ago at an SMP conference. And another state, we both flew out of our comfort zones to meet random strangers. And we actually were sitting at the same table. And I explained to him what I did, what I was trying to do, how I was trying to expand. And we exchanged numbers. And it's funny, we actually didn't talk consistently for like 2 years. But I stalked him online and I was like, you know what? I think we're meant to be friends. I think we have a lot to learn from each other. So I think we should talk more. And from there, we became inseparable. So that's pretty much the story. It's definitely an interesting date for sure.
And where are you located?
So I'm located in Las Vegas, Nevada, San Jose, California, and Silver Spring, Maryland.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. And by the way, how many offices you have now? Yeah.
Oh, we have 3. And then Dennis and I will be opening a 4th in the summer, 2025.
Where's that?
We're already in Tampa, but we're trying to open again in Fort Lauderdale.
Amazing.
Yeah. We actually, wait, she skipped us. We actually have 5. We have Silver Springs, Maryland. You forgot Silver Springs, Maryland, and Los Gatos.
Yes.
Well, what did you have in mind for today? Yes.
Quite a few locations. And that's not how we actually met. We did kind of meet that way, but we met at the gala when I was a hot mess already, and she still loved me. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. We met a couple of times before because the industry is very small. It's only, I would say, like no more than 200 people every time there's an event. So it's very easy to kind of get, navigate towards the people that you have the best energy with. And we obviously were the people everyone wanted to sit and talk to because we are very well versed in communicating how we can scale. So people always want to learn as much as they can. So we were always meant to be in this position. So I'm just happy that I found someone, that I can grow with.
Great. And Dennis, what did you have in mind for us today?
Absolutely. Well, we just wanted to talk about just basically the business and, troubleshooting the business, which is her forte. She is like a troubleshooting Jedi. And so, I just want to highlight her because she is such an integral part of the business. She a lot of times is the rocket fuel that we need when we're running a little low. And so, I just want to really highlight her and have her share some of her experience, which exceeds mine even. And give her the platform.
Go ahead, darling.
Okay, so I know that we had a couple of questions. I don't know if you got them.
No, I apologize. I don't have them. I just let Dennis know. Yeah, they could not find them.
He sent them to me, and I don't know if you have them. So I will talk about them, and then Dennis, you and I can have banter.
Yeah, we can go forth.
So one of the first things a lot of people ask, which is why we kind of already have these questions already together, is because these are common questions that are asked in our industry, but they can be applied to any industry that you are currently trying to get into. So the first question would be, have you ever wanted to quit? If so, what kept you in the game? So I know Dennis has a really good story. But he has a good story that he can go over to explain why this is so common and what you can do to get out of the rut.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, what you first have to do is remember that you always step on the gas. When you think you're not supposed to step on the gas, you just got to step on the gas a little further, because that is sort of like the growing pains that you have to go through in order to be successful. Because people have a tendency of stalling when they feel like they're not getting traction, when they feel like they don't know what they're doing, when there's so many things coming at them. And really, that is a critical moment, because if you ease your foot off the pedal, that's when the light's gonna go out. And so you have to really just push forward as best you can and try to ally yourself with people that can supplement you in ways that will help your business, in ways that elevate you and elevate your business. And I think that's why we work well together, because we have a synergistic relationship that kind of like nobody can ever understand, because it's wonky, it's this and that, it's a whole lot of things, but it works. And so what are you gonna do?
I think a good rule of thumb whenever you feel like quitting, and I think this, I mean, obviously we both went to college, we both had our struggles. Everyone has relationship problems, everyone has money problems. I think the main thing to really keep in mind when you think about quitting is why you're in that energy in the first place. A lot of times it's not even the business, it's the energy that you're around, the people you're around, how much support you have, what your process is, if you've actually planned everything out, or if you're just creating a dream without actually having a stepping stone or milestones to get to where you need to be. So for me, whenever I feel very low, or I'm feeling like this is not what I planned, things are going wrong, Murphy's Law is taking effect, I ask myself, is this just this moment that I'm feeling this way, or has this been consistent for a long period of time? 9 times out of 10, it's not every day. It's just you had a bad client, or you had a bad day, or you had a fight with someone. So just centering yourself and figuring out what it is that has you in that space, and then finding something to take you out of it. It's kind of like pushing on the bruise until it no longer assists.
Yes, absolutely. Pushing on the bruise. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've all done that.
Second question, if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
If I wouldn't do anything differently. Honestly, like, I could come up with a million things that I want to say I would do differently, but each like stepping stone that like I broke my teeth on, because I fell, was a learning lesson that was vital and necessary to learn, right? So I really would not do anything different. Aside from finding a way to get rich quicker, but that hasn't happened. So, so I just got to roll with the punches. I really like just honor the journey, and I take the mistakes, they're lessons. As cliche as that sounds, but it is actually true in this context, right? Like, you have to learn that, and it's going to be hard to learn because you don't know what you're doing, and there's that factor of fear, right? And so you have to push through, and so nothing. I would change nothing.
I would have to second that with you. I think one of the great things I love about you is that you take time to smell the roses. That's something that I never really learned how to do. A lot of times, I think that's one of the great things about me, that we differ in so many ways, because you kind of slow down, you breathe, you meditate. That's definitely not me. I'm working on that this year, because you don't want to keep going and have no work-life balance. But I think if I can do it all over again, the only thing that I would change is I would do it sooner. I think reflecting back and really thinking about the mistakes that I made, I let other people decide for me. I, just survivor's guilt, FOMO, fear of missing out, just not being able to completely be subjective and say, you know what, I know I have the capabilities, I have the strength, I have the intelligence to make this work. And if I can just stay out of my own head and just go for it, what do you have to lose? Think of all the people that are famous now, all the jobs, all of the Bezos, all these people failed so many times before they were actually able to proceed with success. So if you mirror yourself after the people that you want to look like, you have to be willing to step out on faith and fail.
Yeah.
Who is on your team right now that has contributed to your success besides me?
Yeah, you're like, you better say me.
Well, I mean, at the beginning, it was just me. Pulling out my own hair in the office. And then luckily my sister joined me. And because she joined me, she was able to sort of mitigate some of that emotional turmoil that I was going through in the beginning of the business, because, it was so fresh and new for me. And so she shared the brunt of that with me. And that will always be invaluable, right? Because it was a very critical moment, emotionally, mentally, financially. Yeah. And to have somebody there, even just for moral support, is something that is invaluable. And so I will always honor her for that, right? And Benaya is the other like major protagonist, right? In the whole development of Vanguard and Scout Prodigy. And my business is better because she is someone that is so committed and consistent and honest and trustworthy. And those are the qualities you want in a business partner. So I would be pretty lost without her.
Aw.
That's so sweet.
Ditto, ditto, Jill, ditto. My brother, it's so funny. That's another thing we have in common. My brother and I started at the same time, probably like a year after I started, and his sister and him started a year or so after he started.
Yeah.
So it was just really funny that we had so many similarities, like involving our family members. The only opposite is that his sister is older and my sister is younger. So he's the youngest of three. But we always integrated our family in some way because, I mean, I know some people say not to integrate family, don't do business with family. But if it's someone that has is stronger in the places that you're weak, I think it's a great rule to have as long as they are your opposite. You want a little bit of friction so it keeps you on your toes. Okay. What would you tell your younger self prior to starting your empire?
Oh,
What would I tell myself prior to starting my own empire? I mean, just get ready. Just glue your wig on really tight because it's going to get windy. So I would just tell myself to really prepare to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, and to also be aware that there are always going to be unknowns and there's always going to be a struggle. Nothing's ever easy, but if you work hard and persevere, boom, you're halfway there.
I love it. And for those that don't wear wigs, it's all about the scalp micropigmentation. Who needs wigs?
There you go.
Fabulous.
You eliminate the anxiety of the wig.
Exactly. Sorry,
Okay.
Go ahead.
For a younger self, for myself, I think for me, it's a little bit different for me because my family is very OCD when it comes to school, right? I knew from a very young age that I wanted to do something in art, but my family was very much against it. They wanted me to get an education. They wanted me not to have any kids before marriage. They wanted me completely focused on school. I don't regret going to school. I think it's important that people go to school to learn how to regurgitate at least information, to understand how to apply the things that you learn in school to what it is that you want to do in life. Because a lot of times people just go to school without having any plan. I was very, very big on planning. I knew that if I did business, I would apply it to business at some point in the future. I didn't just grab a major and just decide to force it into whatever it is I wanted to do. But I also realized that I allowed a lot of people to basically force my path instead of trying to choose my own. And when you're younger, you kind of do rely on your parents, your siblings, your peers to try to figure out what it is you want to do, what makes you happy. But if I can do it over, I would really sit down and write down a list of things that make me happy and try to build my life around those things instead of people pleasing and trying to incorporate what those people thought I should do for myself. Because you spend the rest of your life chasing ghosts that don't exist.
I think that's like a good life philosophy in general. You know what I mean? Live your life by your own convictions, by your own dreams, by your own intuitions, and move forward from there. Like, take the advice of people with a grain of salt, but always the buck should stop with us, and just go from there, because I think we have good judgment.
Yeah, confidence is important. I think it's most paramount, to be quite honest with you. A lot of times you don't realize until you're a lot older. I'm 41 now, I'll be 42 soon. And it took me this long to realize that I am successful because of my own hard work and sweat equity. But I was able to find my own path by removing myself from the naysayers, removing myself from the people that said I couldn't do it. Every time someone said I couldn't accomplish something, it fueled me. But that is technically a negative emotion. You really want to try to find something within yourself that fuels you. So you're not always looking for the validation of other people, because it starts to affect you in other assets of your life. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important to really just buckle down and figure out what makes you happy. It sounds so cliche and so simple, but honestly, once you hit 40, that's pretty much the only thing that matters, is finding what makes you smile every day. And honestly, this is the best path I could have chosen for myself.
Yeah. You know what? Like for example, like naysayers, right? Like you would never imagine that a parent would be a naysayer. But because my father had so very little options, right? He couldn't project himself into my position and visualize success, right? He was very pessimistic when I told him that I was going to open the business, because that was not an option for him. And that's sad. But so you got to remove yourself, because even family can be pessimistic towards your goal and your journey. So it is what it is.
Okay. How important is your spouse or partner when it comes to supporting the ebb and flow? Yes, we ask this because everyone wants to avoid the time bombs, but it's important to ask about the people within your corner, your intimate relationships, and how that directly affects your revenue. Dennis, feel free.
Well, I didn't have the luxury of really having a partner to help me sort of out at the beginning. I did it all basically on my own, right? That first year was definitely on my own. And so I think it's important to have someone to lean on because it makes everything so much easier. Like just the day to day is easier. Like when you're getting your butt kicked every day and you come home alone and you got to get up again to get your butt kicked again, it's not so pleasant. So I think having that support is so critical. And I think that people that have it are quite blessed. And so I'm taking applications.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
For me, I agree. I think it can be a hindrance or it can be an asset depending on who is in your corner. It doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be a friend. It could be
Yes.
or it can be a parent. It could be a sibling. But whoever it is, they really need to be positive and they need to reinforce the fact that you can do it. Because honestly, if you have enough people in your corner that are encouraging you and they're positive and they're reinforcing the fact that you can do anything in life that you put your mind to, you will get it done. But if everyone around you is negative and they're telling you you're going to fail and they're telling you, well, what about this? And they're not able to help you put out fires, it's better off really doing it on your own. So it really just depends on where you are in your life and the people that are around you. And sometimes they don't mean anything by it. They can't see beyond own blinders, right? It's very difficult for them to see beyond what they are accustomed to in their own life. If they've only done a 9 to 5 their entire life, it's very difficult for them to see that they can change their life in less than 30 to 60 days, which is very doable if you have correct planning and milestones. What were some of the mistakes you would avoid for new businesses? That's a big one because a lot of our peers fall into this problem.
You take that one.
Okay, so I would say the main mistake is financial liquidity. A lot of times you assume that you only need this amount to open when you don't. Thankfully, I hate to say it, going to college really helped me prepare a little bit better for business because I thought you can just open with a loan or a credit card. And that's what everyone says on Google and Facebook and Instagram, but that's not necessarily the truth. You really have to have a budget and you have to make sure that you follow it with clear intention. And you have to also make sure that you understand what you're spending money on. You don't need the biggest building in the world. You don't need $10,000 furniture. You don't need to have the most beautiful scrubs. You sometimes just opening with a smile, a great attitude, and an exemplary service is all that you need. Sometimes you may have to open in an undesirable area. Sometimes you might have to come to work in a little putt-putt. Sometimes you may not be able to compete with the big boys, but in time, if your service is good, your customer service is good, your personality is good, and you are able to basically banter really well with your customers, they will come back. They will refer people to you. You do not have to compete with everyone. You need to focus on yourself. That would be probably the most important thing I would tell you is to not compare yourself to people that have been in business much longer than you. It's really important. It's imperative that you focus on your own journey and not get overstressed or worried about not being able to meet the status quo of your peers, because what's for you, I swear is for you. You just have to really believe it. I think meditation is good. I think meditation is important. I think being able to understand that energy transfers is real. There are energy vampires out there. Stay away from anyone that's super negative.
Yeah.
Make sure you embolden yourself when you're feeling low. It doesn't cost a lot to go get ice cream on a hot day. It doesn't cost you anything to take a millisecond to sit on a bench and just listen to the birds around you. I know it sounds crazy and I'm in my yoga moment, but it's true. You really have to kind of remove yourself from anything that's going to take you from your pathway.
Yeah.
If you really believe that this can happen for you, it will happen for you, but you have to be 100% convinced. You have to be delusional. You have to be so crazy to think it's going to happen for you that nothing can persuade you. I know. I'm so serious about that. I hate that when people say that you can't do it. I'm like, yes, I can. I can do anything I want to do. You can't do it. But then I say, even if you feel right now you can't, you can. And if you stay around me long enough, I'll convince you that you can. So it's just about mindset. It's about making sure that you are around the right people.
Jill, do you have anything you want to add? I told you she's rocket fuel. I told you.
Sorry.
Wait, what did you say about the rocket fuel?
Is there anything that you want to add? I told you she's rocket fuel.
She is on fire. She's so intense. So I know why you guys get along so well, but you are a ball of fire. But just a basic question. I just want to go back to the beginning of time here. Well, not too further back, but how did you even get involved in this business originally? Forget meeting Dennis, but what is your like original background?
Oh, my story is so ratchet. but I'm going to tell you anyway. So basically what happened is I went to school, right? I followed my parents at the time. They were basically forcing me to do everything as they say, not as I do.
And what were you going to school for?
I went to school for business, so I got my MBA. I went to Maryland, Chasing Boy, didn't work out. Yeah, don't do that. Do not recommend. 0. Okay, didn't work out. So I ended up getting my master's degree. I started working for the government because I do studies. So while I'm in school, I'm asking teachers like, so what do you do? What do you make? Okay, I don't want to do that. What do you do? What do you make? What do you do? What do you make? Okay, so if you could do it all over, what would you do differently? I'm asking questions, right? I'm taking down answers, and then I find out who's the highest paid person. I ask them how many years they did it. What was the fastest way to circumvent their situation? How do you collapse the timeline? I've always said this since I was younger. Like, how do I collapse the timeline? I don't want to do anything for 20 years to make the same amount of money. So I found a professor that told me I need to get into the government. When he said, don't become a federal employee, do contracting, you make double the amount of money in the shortest amount of time. And I worked my way up. I was one of the highest paid contractors in my company for my age. And then I decided, this is what I want to do. I got 2 jobs. I was working downtown. I lived in a high-rise apartment. I was paying $2,500 a month for 1 bedroom. I had a nice car. I walked to work every day. I was living the life. I just thought I had it all together. And then one day this guy randomly wrote me. He says, I love your energy. I think you'll do well in this industry. I think you should do what I do. And I was like, you know who I am. So then he was just like, no, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I make way more than you. And I was like, oh, say more, say less. Oh, where do you live? Or where do you go? Where do you work? I'll come stalk you. So I went to his building and I stayed with him for a couple of weeks. And I just saw how he was changing lives. And I saw that it was art-based. And I was like, wait. So can I see like what you bring in? Like, can I see your software? Like, I just need to make sure you're not lying. So he showed me. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. So I was like,
receipt.
I need a receipts, honey. People lie this time. I'm just saying micro influencers, large influencers, sometimes they fib. And I'm really like, if I'm going to go back to my family, I got to have numbers because they are numbers family. They are big about the bottom line. They do not care about emotion. They're not logical at all. So I went back, showed them the numbers. I explained to this what I was going to do. And they still didn't believe me. So I was like, you know what? I've done it your guys' way. I've made a lot of money. I'm in my late 20s. I want to do something else. I'm tired. I feel like my soul is dying on the inside. I'm not doing anything to help people. I want to do something else. So I ended up getting married. Super random, I know. And I moved across the country, quit my job.
Wait, it wasn't that guy was it the guy that you were? I don't know. All right.
A whole nother guy. So I met someone a year after that 6-year relationship, and we got engaged. And life was amazing. And I moved across the country and I quit my jobs because that's what you do when you get married, right? You just blow up your life. So I quit my jobs, moved across the country, and I was like, okay, what do I do now? I said, well, I have no other option but to start a business now because I don't want to work for $10 an hour and I have a master's degree. I was making $70 an hour in DC. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and just try this. What do I have to lose? So what I did was what most people don't do. I said, listen, Mommy dearest, I love you. You know how much I love you, right? I want to move in for a year. Yes, the one that moved out at 17 and never looked back. I would like to move in for a year. Me and my husband would like to stay there. She had a big house in Summerlin. So I was like, I want to stay with you for a year. I want to build my business from the ground up. Yes, this is not normal, but I don't want to carry any debt while I'm building. I want to build a business that I can grow. Yeah. Accumulating a lot of debt, because that is the number one reason most businesses fail in the first year. 50% of small businesses do not make it past the first year due to finances. So because I did the due diligence, because I understood the statistics, because I understood what's required, I took a sacrifice on the first year of business, which most people do not do because they don't want to live with their parents. They don't want to live with their spouse and their parent. But I decided, I had a conversation. I told you, scratch it. I had a conversation. I said, look, I know this don't sound right. It's our first year, but you know my history. You know my timeline. You know what I can do. Just trust me. So the first year, I doubled my revenue. So it took me 6 months to replace what I lost. And then by the 12th month, I had surpassed what I was making as a contract that it took me 8 years to make. So I was then able to say, so you guys were saying what now? Oh, because everyone was like, you quit your job, you stay with your mother, you're taking a step down. I was like, you know what? In order to live the life that you want to live, you have to do the things that you don't want to do. So yeah. I'm willing to make a sacrifice. I'm willing to completely shake up my entire world, revamp my entire outlook on life, and start fresh. And that's what I did. So in a year later, as promised, I moved out and my business grew from there. I was able to grow from a small little room I was renting from a plastic surgeon into my own space. I had a suite for a year. And then 2 years later, I got my first building, which was a 4-unit. And then 4 years later, I got my large building, which is 15 units, 7,000 square feet. Then I opened my other locations. So I was able to grow with leaps and bounds because I was willing to do the work the first year. I was willing to work every day.
Yeah.
I was willing to go back to school to become an esthetician. I didn't want to, but I knew in order for me to get a building, I had to have a licensing. You have to go back to school for that. I went to school during the day and I saw clients at night. And then I flew back and forth between Maryland and Nevada to build my clientele for the first year. I had no life. My husband barely saw me. I'm sure it took a toll on our marriage, but I was willing to make these sacrifices because I wanted to show not only my family, not only my husband, but myself.
Yourself, yeah.
Willing to sacrifice for the things that you truly want. If you want to retire in your 40s, if you want to be able to do the things you want to do, if you want to be able to help your community, if you want to do your passion projects, that requires sacrifice. You have to be willing to put aside the norm. You have to be willing to listen to the naysayers and shake your head and say, that's not for me. That's not my path. I'm willing to make these changes now. I'm willing to sacrifice now so I can have the life that I deserve. I do not want to be working at 70 years old. I don't want my mother to be working at 70 years old.
It has to be a full commitment. Yeah.
Yes.
God bless. Thank you so much for sharing all this. Wow. We are just about out of time. Wow. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
We got to wrap it up a little. And wow, this is a great story. I'm so glad I got to meet you. And wow, all their success, guys. Congratulations on this. And of course, we want to remind people how we can come see you all. How do we get in touch with you?
So it's Vanguard SMP across the board, Vanguard SMP, www.vanguardsmp.com, and Vanguard SMP across the board on all platforms. And she is Scout Prodigy.
Yep.
Scoutprodigy.com, www.scoutprodigy.com. You can look us up online under the same banners, Scout Prodigy or Vanguard SMP on Instagram, Facebook, etc.
Yep.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I'm glad we all got the same memo. We got the same blue vibe going on today, blue-gray type thing. But really, you are a force to be reckoned with. And the two of you together, God bless you both. And thank you for being here today and joining us and giving us more insight into this. Wow. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, too. Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.